Welcome to another exciting Tuesday. Oh, by the way, Queen Shatter says I use my hands a lot, so today I'll try and minimize it. So today we'll look at some tips that will help you become a better photographer, whether you're a beginner or somebody who has been in the game for some time. Tip number 1, study your gear. Learn how to use the gear you already have. As the saying goes, the best gear is what you have in your hands. So learn to use the gear you have instead of thinking of getting an upgrade. Now you can have a low-end camera, but if you know how to use it inside out, you'll be able to output certain images that people with higher end gear won't be able to output such images. So learn to use the gear you have instead of thinking of how to rather upgrade. Because you can upgrade, have the highest end gear, but if you don't know how to use it, you'll be on a gig and you start fumbling with the buttons. How do I change ISO? How do I do this? You get it? So learn how to use your gear before you think of upgrading. Once you're good with what you have, you can then go ahead and upgrade and then, feel free. Tip number 2, learn to use your histogram. When I started, I made that mistake. I completely ignored the histogram and it really cost me. Certain images, I thought I had them right in camera. I transferred them to my laptop and I realized I didn't get them right after all. So learn to use your histogram. Now the histogram is very, very helpful if you know how to use it. Now if you have it shifted all the way to the highlight side, your image is overexposed. And if you have it all the way down to the shadow side, you're underexposed. Now, what you need to know from your histogram is, have the curve going smoothly, from one end to the other. That gives you a well-exposed image. So don't trust your LCD. It will fail you big time. Sometimes certain settings under certain conditions will make you think you're having the best image. But if you forget to use your histogram, Charlie, you won't get the right images. And also, don't trust your eyes, because your eyes will deceive you big time. But what you see on the LCD is not exactly what you see on your machine when you transfer the pictures. So learn to read your histogram very well. Now, on to tip number 3. This happened to me. So I don't know what happened, but I went on a shoot outdoor and I put it on aperture priority. So I only set my f-stop and I started shooting. Now, could you imagine I was shooting at ISO 4000 without knowing? Why? Because I did not cross-check my settings. I was overconfident that I had the right settings. So it was after I transferred the images onto my laptop, I realized most of them were overblown. So you see, that takes us to the previous tip that says, learn to use the histogram. If I was using the histogram, I would have noticed there was something wrong. But because I wasn't, I didn't notice. It was after I transferred the images that I realized I was shooting at ISO 4000, broad daylight, outdoor. I'm ashamed of myself. So to be sure, make sure you cross-check your settings before you start shooting. On to tip number 5. This really got me, I'm a victim. I never learned to use the tripod. And I started from the studio. Most of the time you want the sharpest images, especially when you are shooting wide open at a wide f-stop. Smallest shake and then your image will be out of focus. So learn to use your tripod. When you have your camera on your tripod, it is stabilized at its best. So if you're shooting studio most often, make sure you use a tripod. It will save you a lot of hassle. You will get more pictures in focus than if you don't use a tripod. Most of us think our hands are, steady and all that. But if you look at the images that are out of focus after your shoot, you realize if you use the tripod, you will get most of them in focus than what you currently have. So learn to use your tripod. On to the next point. Invest in your craft. When I say craft, I mean in your gear and in yourself. Invest in educating yourself. If you can get someone to teach you and you have to pay for that, fine, go ahead. Or get data, go online. There's more resource online. Just find something and learn. Don't stay stagnant. Don't be where you are at all times. Make sure you learn something new all the time. If you can learn something new every day, because you need to improve. Charlie, every day people are improving. If you decide not to improve, you'll get left behind. Also, learn to invest in gear. There are people who started with certain gear and they've never upgraded and they continue using that gear and their craft doesn't, advance, and they start wondering how come they are still at the same place without advancing. You need to upgrade. But as I said in the previous point, don't just upgrade. Learn to use the gear you have before you upgrade. So invest in your craft, that's in yourself and in your gear. On to the next point. Now, learn to research before you buy. Don't just think, okay, this is the latest gear, so let me just buy. No. Research well and know if you need that gear before you go ahead and buy. Don't just buy for buying sake. Know why you need to buy it. It will save you a lot of money. I reserve the best for last. Get yourself a mentor. This is very important. I made this mistake. When I started, it was difficult for me getting a mentor because most of the guys I looked up to were either not ready or they were just not available to mentor me. So I had to look up to online and other places where I could get certain basic information from. It didn't go that well though, but that's why I started this workshop to help these upcoming photographers so they don't make these mistakes that we made when we started. So what you need to do is get somebody you look up to, approach the person. Now, with the aid of social media, you can get in touch with anybody. Sometimes they are so busy. Myself, I get busy sometimes that people send messages and I get to read them sometimes weeks after, but I make sure I reply. So just shoot a DM or, you can even get the number online on the person's page or something. Call the person, send the person a text message. But one thing, don't just send, hi boss, and then end there. No, go straight. Write one paragraph. Let the person know what your mission is. It's very annoying when, you have your DM full of hi boss, hey boss, chief, boss man. It's very, very annoying. So just shoot your shot and wait for the response. It will surely come. Other guys that I look up to, I chase them. Sometimes I go as far as Ashoman Estate just to go learn one thing. Seller, big ups. See, so don't be shy. Ask, and it shall be given. If you sit in your corner thinking a mentor will come to you to mentor you, nah, it doesn't happen that way. Go out there with all force. Go, chase them. Charlie, keep knocking, not annoyingly though. Make it nice. Come to me with a box of pizza. I love pizza. So just come to me with a box of pizza. Or dough man, and I'll teach you. My guys know me. Charlie, just come to my studio and I'll teach you. If you want me to come to where you are to, Charlie, request Uber for me or buy me a Bugatti and I'll be there, man. If today is your first time watching Tipsey Tuesday, it means you missed a couple of episodes. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell because you most definitely don't want to miss the next episode. I hope this has been informative for you and I'd like to thank you for watching.